Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a new episode of EVE Echoes. Today was deployment day and we got a bunch of updates. Most of them are good, and I'm satisfied with what we got. Because if you remember correctly, I really got into a hassle about the carriers not being deployed for us to test. And Joseph, the community manager, basically confirmed, I think on Monday, that the carriers will indeed be deployed to Aurora, the live server, for us to enjoy and test inside the capital testing event. Which is pretty much the same testing grounds as the dreadnoughts, and lo and behold, you can play dreadnoughts and carriers dual mode. I mean dual mode as in you get to pick either carriers or dreadnoughts. It's not one for carriers and not one for dreadnoughts. It's a mix. So every player can choose whatever he likes. So you will get into certain rounds that you will see like some pilots using dreadnoughts and some pilots using carriers. Now, if it would have been with carriers only, it would have been, I think, a bit easier on the ones trying to test carriers. Because in the end, carriers are indeed flimsier than the dreadnoughts. They do pack a punch. They have an interesting damage output. I won't say no to that. And they have the capabilities, of course, in the event if your items fall in place correctly. If you just get junk after junk, you won't achieve anything. Survivability of carriers is close to poop. The 3 NPC spawns, well, you know, in some dreadnoughts you had some issues, like you would get to half armor. Well, with carriers, you have instances in which you don't even get to the PvP round, which is round 4. You get wiped by the NPCs. They have less HP, and so far, as I've tested, I was unable to actually finish one such NPC wave spawn. And why is that? Well, if you don't get a module for drone micro warp drive array, which pretty much improve the capabilities of the fighter drones to move faster between targets, actually to move faster from your deployment zone to the targets themselves, because that's the main issue, well, you're going to lose a lot of time. And by the time you do manage to get to the NPCs and try to clear up the wave, well, the wave is going to be cut short by the timer, and then the next wave will spawn and it will be in a different location. So your drones will have to go across the entire field to move to the new targets that are spawned, and that's going to cost you time, and you're basically going to lose that time moving your drones around and not applying damage to the NPCs. Wasn't able, I think, only with the Archon, or can't remember exactly whether was it with a Thanatos, that I was able to get rid of only just one wave, only one, and that's it. This is best I could do. So without a drone micro warp drive array, you're pretty much screwed. It'll take a lot of time for your fighters to get to any given target. But this is just a testing event. In actual combat situations and probably fitting your carrier, you definitely need to include that item. Otherwise, you're not fitting it correctly. One thing I'm certain of, based on my initial assessment, is the fact that the capacitor of the carriers are better than the ones of the dreadnoughts. Well, it's elementary because 2 of the dreadnoughts actually use capacitor for the guns, the Revelation and the Moros. But all in all, the carriers seem to be a good addition and have some sort of versatility and positioning on the map, and you might benefit from the fighter drones and combine them with the micro warp drive array for drones. You'll be able to cover pretty big distances, and by the way, drones don't use capacitor, so there's definitely a thing for carriers. You'll be able to do a lot of stuff, at least until we get the logistics capitals, which we don't know when they will arrive. I'm guessing the carriers will play a role in logistics, just as they used to be in EVE Online until, well, their support role, as in triage mode and to play as capital logistic ships in remote repping, was completely removed. Now, there's some issues with the event. Basically, when you die in the carrier, the arena, the whatever, the testing site will freeze. You'll be able to fix that by restarting your game. There's also an issue with the drones themselves when you're trying to group them or move them or recall them. You notice that your drone icons tends to get stuck on the UI controls on the panel where your items reside. Plus, it seems there's a general issue with fighter drones as they don't quite respond to commands properly. You may get to engage an NPC and sometimes the drones just sit and do nothing. And immediately after you focus fire, they will start doing stuff, but as the target gets destroyed, when you switch targets, some of the drones may continue to acquire the next target and engage with it, while some may just return and do nothing. And you'll probably notice them until it's too late, and they've wasted precious time by returning to your position, and it's going to take some time to get them back into action. We don't have fitting screens yet, but I'll sure try to get onto the test server to see how exactly the fighter drones behave. From what we've seen in the UI, it looks like we have 3 wings of 9 fighter drones each. That's why it says 9 out of 9. So in total, I understand they'll just use 3 models for rendering, because to render the wing, the drone wing, and basically remove the other drones. You won't be able to fit other types of drones except fighter drones. And that means you will need 3 times 9, 27 fighter drones. If that'll cost like 1 mil a piece, you're going to need 27 million. If one fighter drone is going to be like 30 million a piece, 30 million times 27, that's going to be a lot of money. I have no idea how exactly the squadrons are being formed, but it seems to be weird because I don't think we can fit 9 drones inside a tube. It'll probably be just like the item containing 9 charges, and when somebody shoots them, they just go pop, and I don't know. It remains to be seen. I'll also try to toy around in the test server with them, so I'll get back to you on that. Also from this update, well, we got a new logging screen, and if you didn't notice, it's an homage. The background has a red moon, and it's actually our moon. Yep, the one orbiting the Earth. It's red because, as I mentioned, Red Moon Rising. Red Moon Rising was the expansion of EVE Online that introduced capital ships. So it's an homage to that, because we're getting capital ships in EVE Echoes as well. Also, don't forget that on the 24th of October, the new event will begin, because the ship data test manual event is coming to an end in, I think, 13 days or so. And the new event is called Crisis Approaches, The Tide Rises. Unveiling the ship graveyard. It's what the developers actually mentioned in the dev blog. So this will allow the players that are not engaged into industry, because there's that other event for the industry folks that they can, acquire materials and then they'll receive bonus materials and blueprints and all that. Well, this is only for the ones that are probably going to run PvE, so they have to go into Nihilist space and face the terrors inside there. Basically, the NPC faction pirates just got their hands on the latest Empire technologies, and they have now capital ships of their own, so you can just go in there and blap them out of existence. They'll be able to drop capital components and blueprints and all that, which would help boost the capital ship production rate. So all in all, I think this was a pretty good deployment. Well, that's it for today. I hope you guys learned something. Thank you guys for watching. Give a big shout out to my channel supporters, and I'll see you guys next time. Cheers.